Okay, time is 7:05. Today is January 30th, 2023. Calling board meeting number 19, special meeting for budget finalization to order. Jesse's here, obviously. Roll call: Marcy McAnally,
Here.
Lynn Lillard.
Here.
Sam Belmonte is unable to join at the moment, but he might be able to hop on here in the next 10 minutes or so. But he said to go ahead and get started without him just in case he couldn't. So, purpose of this meeting, the primary agenda item is to finalize the budget that we were working on last time. And of course, any other business that comes before the board. So we have a quorum. So let's, I guess, go ahead and get started. As usual, I'll be sharing out this Excel spreadsheet. If anyone has any problems reading it, let me know. I'm going to try to zoom in as much as possible. I know phones aren't the greatest thing for these kind of meetings. And why isn't it letting me zoom? All right, hopefully we can see this okay. So last time we talked on the draft budget meeting, we pretty much came up with the numbers that were, unavoidable, everything like that. The only thing that's changed there, at the last time where we left off, Sheila had mentioned a pretty healthy budget for especially for the audit situation, but we're really in a bind with the state auditor. They don't really even know what to do because nothing like this has ever happened before. I spoke to the state auditor this morning. Her name's Crystal Dorsey. She's not the actual Colorado state auditor, but she's head of the local government audit division, the one that's been handling all this district's previous financials. And they understand that something is very wrong here. But the law only gives them certain leeway that they can give to us. So I'm still trying to understand and negotiate and talk with the state auditor about our future of, what's going to happen with the partners' old financial books and stuff that we don't have access to. Because after speaking with multiple certified public accountants today who were on a list provided by the state auditor, basically the state is telling us we have to do this audit. There's no way around it. And the problem is when we go and call auditors from their list, none of the auditors are willing to work with us. And most of them are citing either that, and this is very true, that there's a shortage of accountants in Colorado. There's still a COVID backlog, all that kind of stuff. And then the other big answer that we were getting from public accountants is, we can't ethically take your money. We already know that something is messed up here, and we just aren't willing to work with you. We can't really tell you anything you don't know. So that's kind of where we're stuck. Is I've already told all of that to the state auditor, that dozens of public accountants that I've called at this point over the past year and change have all basically told us the same thing. We are unauditable. They can't look at our books. And all I can tell the state is that's what they say. You tell us to go get an audit, and we try to hire an auditor, and they say that they're not interested in working with us and they can't ethically take our money. So where do we go from here? So the next step from a legal perspective that the state is supposed to be taking against our district is to force us into an audit. The state would pay up front, or pay as the audit progresses, however long that takes, however much it costs. The state doesn't care, and they will ultimately at the end of it send the district a bill. And something like that, if it gets into forensic auditing, Crystal was saying, and other accountants were saying that could get into the $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 range, depending on how deep they have to dig into all these books and everything. But at the moment, we can't even demonstrate that the district owns any assets. So how are we supposed to fill out, that section of an audit and provide all of the values of our land and infrastructure and everything else when we're not even, when someone else is claiming to own it? So that's where we're really stuck with the auditor. And I don't think we should budget anything for an audit. We should only budget for election, which I think was, in the $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 range, and maybe some other legal help. But as far as paying for an audit, I already called everyone in the book, and all of them said they don't want our money. So we can't spend that money on an auditor. They just won't take it. So if the state's going to force us to do it, that's something that we're just going to have to deal with down the road. But without dramatically increasing water rates, we're really faced with a choice. Do we hire a new certified water operator to replace the one that we had a bad relationship with, or do we put that money aside for a legal and audit fund instead? And in my opinion, to pay an auditor for something that we already know, and for a company that won't even take our money anyway, I don't think that we should even plan for that at this point. It's not worth it to the community. Our public health is much more important. Having an ORC is much more important. And if the state is forcing us to choose one or the other, to me, the choice is pretty clear.
I agree with that. I agree.
So for
how
legal,
much do you think we need though for the legal and election stuff like that? How much do you think we should tentatively set aside for something along like that?
So for election, it all comes down to whether we actually have to go through the entire process. Right now there's one open board seat. So if it, and pretty soon here, we're going to have to be sending out self-nomination forms, just like we did for the last election. So every eligible voter in the district who's a registered voter and personally owns property here, will get a chance to nominate themselves or to vote for themselves, for the open board seat. And if we only receive one nomination, then that person basically automatically wins the seat. But if they have a competitor, somebody else wants to try to take that seat, then we will have to go through the entire election process. Sorry, there are two seats open. Marcy's seat is open too for election. So let me back up there for a minute. So there are two seats up for election. If fewer than 3 people run for those seats, then we can cancel the election because there were only 2 people available to fill the 2 open seats. But if a third person would like to compete for one of those 2 seats, they would turn in a self-nomination form, and we would go through the entire election process where we would, hire the designated election official that we appointed and pay them to, do all the work as a third party, an unbiased third party for us. So I believe that, just for the election stuff, we're thinking probably like in the $2,000 to $3,000 price range, and it may be cheaper than that, and it may cost nothing if we don't have an election at all. But we should probably plan for the most expensive scenario.
Yeah, because honestly, if we don't need that money, then we can allocate it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to have a little bit prepared for that than not.
So that would be elections only. I have been talking to some more attorneys. One of them is one that Channel 4 recommended, and he has so far been, kind of giving tips and tricks, and he wouldn't be good on litigation side, but he kind of sees a potential way, to help us ultimately switch to quality water that might make it easier than going through the full legal process of actually consolidating our government with their government. There may be cheaper and faster and easier ways to make it less legally complicated and expensive to do so. So I think we, probably want to budget a little bit for him, at least, to take a look at the situation. But all attorneys are going to be expensive. So No matter where we look, unless we can find one who's actually willing to work for free for some reason, I think we should budget at least a little something, maybe another 3,000, 5,000.
I was going to suggest 5, but if you think that's too high, I don't know.
3 doesn't go very far these days. I think that's kind of a typical retainer.
Yeah, because right now he's just giving advice, and so I don't know. I don't know lawyers. I hate to say that, but I would say we probably need to at least estimate about 5 for him for right now.
Yeah, just in general speaking. And I'm still, there's still a couple others that Channel 4 is trying to hook us up with. It's just a matter of are any of them going to be willing to, kind of put some of their own skin in the game for the chance to, kind of be the hero in our situation. If they don't want to take on that responsibility, or if they don't think that they can, get rich off of it, they probably won't want to. But we'll just have to, keep looking and keep talking and keep negotiating. But that's what I've done all day today. I've spent the entire day. I took the day off of work to track down accountants to satisfy the state attorney, or sorry, the state auditor, trying to track down an attorney to help us with the legal situation, and then trying to track down a new certified operator. And I've gotten 1.5 of those done. I just need to get more on the legal side. But I do believe that we've found a new certified operator who's willing to start as early as tomorrow. But let's talk about that after we get, towards the end of the budget finalization, since that's our primary goal here. So what are we thinking, like 6,000 for the legal pro election and audit budget? Not 60,000.
Well, I would say if we're thinking, 5,000 for attorney, maybe 2,000 for election, I'd bump it to at least 7.
7,500. Let's see what that looks like. Not horrible. 49,460 is about what we spent last year, closer to 50 now that we're, all the way through December. So that doesn't dramatically change things too much.
Mm-mm.
But we still were running a shortfall of last year. So let's take this new potential projection, 54,330. And that would come to $92 a month for water bills. Better than what we come up with last time, which was like 135.
Yeah.
I think the 92.40 is not bad. I would be willing to pay that to make sure we had money aside.
How's your line doing, Ashley?
Oh, it's very terrible. We're actually to the point where I don't know how much longer we're going to have water pressure. So
that's terrible.
Yeah.
I know it's been getting worse slowly over time. And of course, the weather just can't cooperate with digging or anything right now.
Exactly. Yeah. We're just kind of biding our time till we can get the snow cleared off enough so that Jake can dig or Josh can dig.
Yeah, we've got a lot of snow out here, way more than I think any of us bargained for this time around.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And thank you to everybody out there who's been plowing roads and letting us all be able to get out and get to work, and letting ambulances come in if we ever need them. Much appreciated.
Yeah, that is super nice. I don't know who does it, but I do appreciate that.
Mostly over here on the west side, I think it was Ed and Travis Moore. They've got a red tractor that's been very, very busy this winter so far.
Okay, yeah. So appreciative.
Yeah, we all are very thankful for that. So we can potentially even save a little money. We still have for the ORC, there's really not much we can do to avoid, like I might be able to do some of this paperwork. I'm actually about a third of the way through studying for my certified operator license. So basically, the certified operator that I spoke with today, who's willing to work with us, his prices are pretty much on par with our previous operator, and he's willing to, like this $1,800 worth of paperwork that our previous operator did, it's probably possible for me to do it or to help him do it and save some money there. I think maybe we can still find, a way to not spend $1,200 or $100 a month on meter reading. And we can't even do it right now anyway because of all the snow. It'll be, probably February, March, or sorry, March, April, or May before, we can even access them again. So yeah, I think that we can knock a little bit off this too, just to have a little bit of extra leeway. We definitely want to try to save as, at least put as much, set aside as much as we can. So I'll do my best to cut costs wherever we can with the certified operator stuff too. And then everything else on the budget is pretty small compared. It's mostly certified operator and water testing lab fees. The lab fees are even twice as much as the actual certified operator, but there's laws, and those water samples have to be sent in a certain way. I might even be able to drive those up to Weld County Lab or the Fort Morgan Lab or whichever is closest that can do it. I think it's probably Weld Lab. Maybe we could take turns doing it, or who knows what, but however we can save some money, we'll definitely be trying this year.
How often do the labs have to be turned in, or are you driving to the lab?
So yeah, I'll try to see what our new operator recommends, because if he's going, similarly like our previous operator, they would grab our samples along with like 3 or 4 other systems and bring them all up to the lab at the same time to save everybody, so that he's not driving back and forth for each system. So our new operator might be able to do that also, but he does live quite a bit further away than our previous. So I might have to help him, or we might have to help him out there and shoulder some of that burden.
Okay, yeah, I would be willing to help take turns driving the testing up to the labs or lab.
That would be really generous of you. I appreciate that.
No.
So yeah, anywhere we can. Sorry, go ahead, Marcy.
Does that mean we're going to be resuming our every other day or at least once a week water sampling for the chlorine?
Not sure, what we should probably do, because currently, the whole time that we've been with the previous operator, they've been operating off of Chrissy Danford's operating plan. So I think it would probably be a good idea for our new ORC to kind of, rewrite that plan and decide what our new, daily, weekly, monthly procedures are actually going to be. They probably won't change that much. And I'm really not sure if we really have to do it every 2 or 3 days, or if once a week is enough. But
Right.
we'll, he's going to be the one to, help us decide and determine what all that needs to be moving forward. Because even our previous operator, they just kind of went along with Chrissy's old plan. So maybe our new one might, agree with that one too. But again, it'll be up to him. He's the expert.
Right, because our old ORC was telling us that once a week is plenty. So
If
I
it
don't know
is,
which is true.
yeah,
So.
I really don't know. So it'll be good to get another opinion on that.
Okay. I mean, I have the sampling requirements, so.
Yep, I've still have a copy of our current operating plan, so I'll just give that to the new guy, and work with him and see if he thinks that that's still workable, or if it's too much or too little, or what needs to change.
Okay. Sounds good.
So yeah, those are the main budget items. Were legal and ORC. It's always that way. It's going to be that way for any district, pretty much. At least we don't have 10 staff members and family medical leave and paid benefits and IRS reporting and wages and all that fun stuff. This is still a pretty cheap district to run the way we're doing it, but we're trying to satisfy the legal compliance of this financial audit stuff, and that's where the extra pain is really coming from. And if we have to go that route, we're going to hold the people who actually turned in those financial reports responsible for, if they ever need to get audited. But I'm still going to be fighting with the state auditor to see if there's anything else they can do for us that'll make this not so painful for the homeowners. So, oh yeah, budget item for the membership and dues. I did increase that a little bit over last time because we were thinking maybe not to re-sign up with the Colorado Rural Water Association, but in our current situation, especially having a new ORC and everything, they may suddenly have, services or information or assistance that might benefit both us and the new operator. So I think that it would be good to re-sign up for that. Not much of a bottom line difference when it all comes down to it. And I think it's worth it now when it wasn't before, just because we've changed operators.
Well, I think any help that we can get from any of the associations is good. And it shows that we're also doing our true diligence in trying to, follow all procedures, get as much information as we can. So yes, I think that is a very good idea.
Okay. And Sheila, we have verified that more than the annual minimum amount of the 3% required reserve has been transferred. So we actually have a little bit more in the emergency reserve than we expected, or than would have been calculated otherwise. So we're good there. One less little thing to worry about getting in trouble for. So that's about it budget-wise. It's not as good as it was last year, but we can't just not do our ORC and legal responsibilities.
Shall we put forth a motion to accept the new budget?
That sounds like a motion to me. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Marcy?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jesse is an aye. So before we actually raise water rates, we do have to communicate this to the public 60 days in advance. But so yeah, that won't take it. Yeah, that at least won't take effect for that much longer. And hopefully we can maybe help kind of get that taken care of along with the election board meetings and stuff like that, so that we're not having excess meetings between now and then.
Yeah, well, and we won't even be able to raise rates till we can start metering again anyways, in my opinion. So I think we've got a couple of months on that. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I feel like we have a little time.
Yeah, it should be done sooner or later because we already are into 2023, and this would be the monthly rate for January. So we can't let that drag on too long, or it's going to skew our actual revenue compared to what we're budgeting for.
Yeah, I understand.
Welcome back, Sheila. It looks like she dropped off for a second.
Do you have any comments, Sheila, on the budget?
Have we got to the public comment section of the meeting yet? I got all kinds of comments written down here.
Go for it.
Well, before we approve it, I think we need to, we already approved it, but I think we need to know what your concerns are.
Yeah. Everybody, anyone else? Let's just move to public commentary and then we'll back up if needed.
Okay.
I do think that there needs to be, at least in the footnotes to the financials, if nowhere else, that we have potential liability out there for the audit.
Yeah, we'll put that in and we still have to write the budget message like we did last year.
Yeah, be sure that includes, even though it says on the report, last year they were blind to that. Be sure that budget message says that it's cash basis.
Okay. Yeah, hold on a sec. Let me put a note on here. Yeah, so in the budget letter, which describes the features of the budget, they call it, we'll definitely have to put something in there about the potential for an audit, but our inability to find an auditor who's willing to work with us. That's, in my opinion, just like our $0 repair budget. It's not our paperwork that's being audited. It's the years that were happening, that happened before we took over. And we ultimately need to hold the developer responsible for those. If we get forced into the full audit, it's totally not our fault.
So did you talk to Eric Gonzalez about auditing?
Is he the local CPA here?
Yeah, he's in Wiggins in the old bank building.
No, I actually did look him up and find him on Google Maps and stuff, but I didn't get around to calling him, because of all the others I spoke to who were all telling me the same thing, like,
Right.
Good luck, nobody wants your money. But
I have a call into him. Did you talk to Lauer and Zabel in
Nope.
Sterling?
Nope. I already talked to them like a year ago, and they kind of already said no, but I can try them again also.
Okay. I have a call into Eric. I'll talk to him. Relay
Okay.
that back to you.
Yeah, our situation pretty damn good too. So if you can kind of explain the gist of it to him and see if it's even something that he would be interested in, because it is a possible way forward with the state auditor. That basically what the auditor has said is, at the end of the day, they can't take our word for it as a board that those books really need to be really, really dug into. They would need an auditor to say, hey, we audited the district and our results are inconclusive and we have concerns about that. Here's what they are. If we can get an auditor to actually, do it, I'm pretty sure that the OSA would be able to move forward with the stuff they're not able to move forward with now. So that's kind of the weird bind is the state has tried to give us a little bit of flexibility and say, well, if you do this, we might be able to do that for you. But then when I go and ask auditors about that, none of them are like, that sounds a little fishy to me. I'm not sure if we want to take your money, just to tell you that there's a whole bunch of question marks that we couldn't figure out. But that's what the OSA wants to see. That's what will give them the power to do more than they've done about it. So very interesting. And I don't know if we're going to have to be forced into that to make it happen, or if we can actually find somebody to do it for a little bit cheaper. But yeah, definitely, if you can talk to Eric, and see what he thinks about it, we're all ears.
And that's all I had as far as the budget goes, just to suggest that potential for a pricey audit is in the footnotes.
Yep. Yeah, I'll make sure it gets in there. Oh, speaking of which, Sheila, do you still have a digital copy of the budget letter from last year that we can use as a template? The one that ultimately got put on the state's website's just a photocopy.
Oh, probably. I'll have to look when I'm at the office.
We would love to plagiarize that if you would let us.
Well, I didn't sign it, so.
Government documents can't be copyrighted anyway.
Yeah, but you can lie on them and not get in trouble by the state auditor.
I guess
Apparently that's true.
if your name begins with F.
And you have to handwrite across the bottom that something is a lot of BS. That really makes it great.
Yep,
Yeah,
that is
that
one
helps
thing.
a lot.
It's one thing that you will never see from PVRWD new district paperwork is profanity on documents uploaded to the state website.
No, but it is kind of entertaining.
Yeah, funny to look back at, kinda. Funny in quotes, air quotes. But,
Right.
So yeah, any other public
It's scary
commentary?
what he put on those letters.
Yep.
So are we in public comments now? Because there was a couple other things that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any. Oh, go ahead.
Val, the designated election official is the one where self-nominations are to be sent. So you need to get with her, and I texted you her phone number, and find out where she wants those sent or where she wants them delivered to, if anybody has self-noms for this upcoming election.
Yeah, so I just got that text. I'll contact her as soon as possible tomorrow. And we need to update our transparency notice on the website and special district association website, and might as well mail out another copy, updated too. But yeah, so that'll be the official process. Is Val Luce is our appointed designated election official. Paperwork will all be sent to Val. Val will validate whether the people sending in the paperwork own property and are registered to vote inside our district, and we will go from there.
So when does my self-nom form need to be in?
The deadline is the same for everybody, so you'll get a copy of it. Everybody will get, the entire community, anyone who's eligible to be a board member will all be notified simultaneously through the mail. And I forget the exact deadline on that, but it's coming up
February
relatively
right?
soon. Say again?
It's May
February-
something. Go ahead, Sheila.
February 28th is the deadline for self-noms, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Did you hear from Jorge Delgado today?
No, Sam called twice, left a voicemail, did not get a call back.
And to let you know, you had said something about potentially taking lab samples to Fort Morgan. Unless it's the other guy that we were told about in Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan Health Department sends their water samples to the Weld County lab.
Oh, yeah. Might as well just take them straight to the actual lab then.
But there was another guy, another person in Fort Morgan, and I believe it was Lydia that told us that does those tests and stuff. I can't remember who it was or who he was with. Maybe I can give Lydia a call.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Because if we can even save, 10 minutes round trip drive time or 20 minutes round trip drive time, that would be good. I'm not sure how much further Weld Lab is away than this other one we're talking about, but
Greeley to Fort Morgan is twice the distance.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna bring it up again. We've never received a public notice concerning the uranium and the uranium and the selenium. We get it for the manganese all the time.
That's an
Well,
interesting one. Go ahead,
Right,
Marcy.
because now they're saying it's not a problem. So
I need to see the lab results to believe that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the last set of lab results we got, and the last letter that we got based on those lab results from the public health department said specifically, part of clearing this violation is installation of central treatment or switching away from quality water, or switching to quality water district, or at least mixing PVR and quality water together. Those were the three options the state gave us. And as soon as Channel 4 asked the state about that situation, the official response that she got from the state was, we don't think there's anything wrong with uranium and selenium.
And the state said that, and we have that recorded somewhere.
Yeah, it was Channel 4 who received those responses from CDPHE, and they're in direct contradiction to the most recent communications that we've gotten from CDPHE.
We'll let Sean Boyd deal with that.
Yeah.
yep.
I think that's all I had on my notes to bring up.
Alrighty. We've also got Travis, Ashley, Thayer, Souter, Mary, and who's the other one that it's not showing me? Oh, Mia. Sorry, Mia. Any other public comments? Give a couple
I don't-
people just in case they're accidentally muted. I think that's probably about it then. So if there's no other business that comes before the board, then I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
One thing before we close, we probably should let everybody know we tentatively need to have a real board meeting, not a budget meeting coming up, probably within the next week or so, as we've got so many big changes going through. So I guess we need to get with Sam, see what his schedule looks like so he can be at that one. Because especially with us bringing on a new ORC, all the testing that we're doing, all the classes, everything else, I think we've got a lot of stuff rolling that we need to make sure we stay up on. So
Yep.
I don't know if that sounds good to everybody else.
I tend to agree. So we'll try to schedule another one, as soon as everybody is available, because like you said, it would be really good for us to all meet the new certified operator at once. Maybe kind of making an informal extra meeting down at the pump house so that all four of us can be there, just so that we all get to know each other's names and faces at once. So it's not like, who's this again and who's that again and what's his phone number again and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I suggest that the next board meeting that we have should be in person, not over a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, those have to be special meetings. Legally speaking, our official meeting platform is the internet. We can have extra meetings on top of that, but our regular board meetings must be conducted online.
Okay.
We can change that in the future if we need to, but online is, in most cases, it seems to be the most convenient for people that want to show up.
Well,
I'm
we
not
can
saying
go,
that's the only way that we can do it. We can do more or both if we need to, but the online is technically and legally speaking the official meeting location.
it could be, have the online set up at the face-to-face meeting.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. The problem there is we would need somebody to run the camera and run the technology, because as a board member speaking, if somebody from the public speaks up or whatever, the public has to see all of that. And if the camera is only pointed in one direction the whole time and we can't hear what the public who showed up, physically the meeting's saying, like, there's definitely technical challenges there that we would probably have to do a practice run or two.
Right. Mia
Mia's got
has
her
a hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Mia.
Sorry, I couldn't get the button clicked. So I just wanted to say if we do another special, not a special meeting, but a meeting to inform everybody about all the new changes, we really need to put it on Nextdoor and email and stuff like that, because I didn't even realize there was a meeting the last board meeting. So I didn't even realize there was a meeting then. So I think we need to put it on Nextdoor and put out reminders and stuff like that to other people so they can be involved.
Yeah, I agree. We can always do better about, giving more advance notice and giving more people more time to, adjust their schedules and everything. So we will endeavor to do better of that. We always do send out I think I missed it last time, the email. That's probably why you didn't get it.
Yeah,
So
Sam let me know. He was like, hey, you weren't at the board meeting. I was like, I didn't even know we had one.
yeah, trying to get, there is, you're right, you're absolutely right. There is no single contact method that everybody uses. If it's on our website, some people might see it. If it's in email, some other people might see it, but some might only check their Nextdoor, twice as often as email. So
Right.
Yeah, we'll try to be more consistent and more timely about that.
Okay, and then is there any way that I could listen to the last meeting or anything like that?
Yeah, and that's my fault for not getting the website properly updated on a routine basis. But yeah, all but one of our board meetings have been audio recorded, and it's just a matter of getting the links to those recordings attached to the meeting, the pages on our website where those meetings took place. So mostly a technical problem, and it's my fault for letting that slide.
Okay, no, that's all. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Alrighty, so I make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:45 p.m.
I second that.
I third it.
Alrighty, motion carries. Have a good night, everybody.
You
Good
too.
night.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yep, take care all.